Welcome back on this, a Money Monday. There's no shortage of news lately about student loans and how hard it can be to pay for college. And as a new school year gets underway, we're talking with Jade Beckman today, the VP of Consumer Loans, on this Money Monday. All right, we know education is expensive, yes. What are some of the good options out there? Because when we talk about paying for college, if you're not just forking out the cash right there at the start of the semester, you have to do something, right?
You've got to do something to pay for it, and tuition's doing nothing but increasing too.
Absolutely.
So I like to put things, Andrew, in a hierarchy of where you go first. Top of that list would be scholarships and grants, of course. The reason being, quite simply, you don't have to pay those back, right? Scholarships, there are many of them every year that don't go claimed. And the same thing with grants also. Typically, the Pell Grant is a federal grant. I just read an article just a couple of weeks ago in the Tribune that said Utah students left somewhere around $45 million in federal grants on the table. So put those right at the top of the list. Don't have to pay those back. Those are all needs-based. Scholarships can be merit-based also.
Right. Let's talk some other things that students maybe need to consider that maybe that you don't think of outside of applying for those scholarships, you know, maybe when you're a senior in high school or something.
Right. Well, then after those comes loans, right? And even in that, I put a hierarchy. You've got federal loans, and then you've got private loans. So I'd always put the federal loans at the top of that list. You're going to get the lowest interest rates. Those typically are needs-based also. They're not credit-based or income-based. So you're going to get a lot of flexible payment terms with those as well. Typically, you don't have to make payments while you're in school. Then I'd go to the private student loans, and that's where a lender such as Mountain America comes into play. But those are typically credit-based and income-based, and just like any loan, you need to make sure you know what you're getting into before you do that and before you get into debt to go to school.
I've read a lot lately about this possible initiative out there where the federal government may step in and wipe away some of the federal student loan packages. Is there any development there, or what is that all about?
Yeah, and most of that is aimed at the federal student loans, and that's why I say go with those first, because in those repayment terms, some of the proposals are to make that income-based, that you can only make a certain percentage of your income to be required to pay those back, and after you've paid for so long on the loans, then they're expunged. So that's where you've got a lot more options than you typically have on the private side. Private side still has a place to fill in those gaps, and that's all I would look at, is for those to fill the gaps between the scholarship grants and federal loans. Sure.
I love looking at the information because you guys have some great tools on mountainamerica.macu.com. What can we find there at the website?
Yeah, all sorts of resources on that. There are all sorts of just financial tips, and as well as these types of things. How to pay for school, top 10 tips on how to pay for school, and then contact us for some more information also. You can always come in and visit us too.
Great, appreciate it. Jade Beckman here with Mountain America Credit Union. Good to see you as always.
Thanks, Andrew.
Money Monday. Have some sentimental feelings about the late